Spine. Good morning, Mokuseki. Those of you who came in just in the last few minutes, please don't be confused. This is our monthly Zazenkai, so we started half an hour early and we are after the first sit now, and we will have a little talk after the second sit and the ceremony. Please take out your raksu or a kesa now if you have one. If you don't have one, don't feel left out. Wearing the Tathagata's teaching is not a matter of a piece of fabric. Dai sai geda puku musu fuku den ibun yorai kyo kodo shoshujo robe of liberation boundless, field beyond both form and formless, wearing the Tathagata's teachings, vowing to save all sentient beings. Dai sai geda puku muso fuku den ibun yorai kyo kodo shoshujo. Please continue with a short round of KINHIN. Hello, Mujo. Please don't be confused. We started half an hour early today for the monthly Zazenkai, so we are after the first sitting and we just started with KINHIN now.
Oh, okay.
Zazen. Please take your time to stretch a bit, move your body a bit. We will have our ceremony now, and afterwards there will be a little talk and hopefully a conversation about that, which is kind of the point. Yeah, give us a moment to set ourselves up, and don't feel bad if you have to leave now, that's fine too.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna spotlight us. One sweet second.
The whole time during the sitting, I thought again and again there is some microphone open somewhere, because I heard this room sound from somewhere. It was my thermos bottle with hot tea that went the whole time.
Okay. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Maga 한야하람이다 싱요 간지자이오 사스겨진 한야람이다 지쇼겐곤 가이그도 이사이그 야그샤리 시시기 후이 그그 시기 서구제 그그 서구제 시기 주속여 시기 야그 은여제 샤리 시제 쇼호그 소프쇼 메츠프그 푸조프조프근제고그 주무시기마주속여 시기마겐니비제시니마시기쇼 고미소그 호마겐가이나이시마이 시기가이 마마며 야그마마며 진나이시마로시 야그마로시 진마그셔메츠도마지 야그마도구이마쇼도고보다이사타에 한야하람이다 고신무게게무 게고무 그분리사이텐도무소 극연의 한산제 쇼부수의 한야 하람이다 고도구와 노구다라산 묘구산 보다이고지 한야람이다 제다이진주 제다묘슈 제마조슈 제마 도도슈 노조이사이구 신제즈프고고 세즈한야하람이다 슈소구 세즈슈 와츠갸데갸데 하라갸데 하라소갸데 고지서와가 한야싱요 The identity of relative and absolute. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately conveyed west and east, while human faculties are both wise or dull in the way there are no northern nor southern ancestors. The subtle source shines clear in the light, the branching streams flow in the dark. To be attached to things is primordial illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightenment. All spheres, every sense and field, intermingle even as they shine alone, interact and even as they merge, yet keeping their places in expressions of their own. Sights differ primarily in shape and character, and sounds in harsh or soothing tones. The dark makes all words one. The brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their true nature as a child turns to its mother. Fire is hot, water is wet, wind moves and the earth is dense. Eye and form, ear and sound, nose and smell, tongue and taste, the sweet and sour, each independent of the other, like leaves that come from the same root. And though leaves and root must go back to the source, both root and leaves have their own uses. Light is also darkness, but do not think of it as darkness. Darkness is light. Do not see it as light. Light and darkness are not one, not two, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own being, which is not different from its place and function. The relative fits the absolute as a box in its lid. The absolute meets the relative like two arrow points that touch in midair. Hearing this, simply perceive what is, make no criterion. If you do not see the way, you do not see it even as you walk upon it. Walking forward in the way, you draw no nearer, progress no farther. One who fails to see this truth is mountains and rivers away. Listen, those who would perceive this subtle matter. Live well your time by night and day. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reciting the heart of the perfection of Great Wisdom Sutra and the identity of relative and absolute, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, honored one, the historical Buddha and teacher, and to those ancestral teachers, Eihei Dogen, honored one, Soji Keizan, honored one, all successive honored ones up until Zuigaku Rempo, honored one, and Gudawafu, honored one, and to all other honored ones throughout history, same yet diverse honored ones whose names have been forgotten or left unsaid. We also dedicate these efforts to the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, to all awakened ones and teachers in all places and times. We especially seek tranquility and well-being for all creatures now suffering or ill in health. May they be serene through all their ills. May their lives be at peace and wisdom pervade the darkness of ignorance. We dedicate our hopes and aspirations to all victims of war and violence and natural events, to the injured and to all families touched by these tragedies, to the healing of hatred in all countries and among all peoples, to the wisdom and compassion of our world leaders, to the peace of the world and harmony of all beings. Thus let the harmful effects of words, thoughts, and actions be dispelled, and compassion bloom in perpetual spring. May we all realize and live the enlightened way together. O Buddhas throughout space and time, O Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita. All harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and mind, now I atone for them all. I vow to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. I vow to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. I vow to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Björn, for chanting us through.
Thank you.
As it's our monthly today, we will have a little talk, a little discussion afterwards. Again, if you need to leave, really don't feel bad about it, but I would prefer if you would stay. Let us remove those spotlights and change my camera and all of these things. No, there is no camera. That's not bad. Make yourselves comfortable. Find something to drink if you have it close by. I need to open the door a little from all the incense. So, speaking and that much incense doesn't work well together. There we are again. I'm not sure if I set up everything all right here. Just a moment. I have, but I don't have tea.
Oh, so lovely to see so many people today.
It is, right?
It's completely balanced with the Friday Zazenkai. We had exactly the same number of people, like 18 or so. Oh, 10 years in a really new place. Are you not?
Just my phone. My Wi-Fi broke down on my PC for some reason. I don't know.
Good. The technology. Lovely.
So should we start? Björn, will you open the sutras for us, please?
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's your instance. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize that the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize that the Tathagata's true meaning. The Dharma, incomparably profound and infinitely subtle, is always encountered but rarely perceived. Now we see, hear, receive, and maintain this. May we all realize that the Tathagata's true meaning.
Thank you.
Thou art welcome.
Thinking about what to say today, I reached close. I've had some one-on-one conversations with Treeleafers in the past weeks. Not an official doksam, but just meeting and talking about practice issues, talking about ideas, sorrows, struggling, all of that. And most of those conversations took somehow a similar direction. So I thought, why not pick it up and bring it here? That's what I'm trying to do. If I would try to find a title for it, it would probably be Maturing on the Way, something like that. We've had so many conversations about what next, what now, what comes after all this Jukai and Engo, and we talked enough about that, enough about what other things you can probably do, but there is also this shift in a way, this transitioning from a pretty intense first year or first 2 years where there are fireworks and honeymoon in a way, and transitioning into something that might feel more boring on a first glance, more everyday something, which it is. I mean, it is everyday practice. It is everyday life outside of ceremony and events and workshops and all of this. And I think for myself, when thinking about what maturing on the way would mean, it's probably that it's not so much about insights anymore, that it's not so much about realizing the new, realizing what is so much different from the life before practice. It's more that seeping in of practicing, of Dharma, that seeps into all of life, into everyday life. And that can be very quiet, very slowly going. And it feels different. It feels different from all that intense time, but it is what practice is about when you look into the next years. Of course, there will be highlights, there will be moments of realization, but most of it will be practice seeping into everyday experience. And sometimes what gets in the way of our practice, what makes people, as I heard, and I feel the same, what makes it feel so difficult over time and even exhausting is not the big things that keep us from practice, not the world doing its thing, not schedules, not restlessness or something. It's often more a self-commentary thing running beneath the surface. This ideas of that wasn't a very deep sit. I'm too distracted today. I should know better than to keep following this thought. I'm not progressing like I used to. There were so wonderful and meaningful experiences, and where are those now? And these thoughts are not always harsh. They are mostly not harsh. They are something very quiet too, and sometimes they dress up as mindfulness, as self-awareness, even as spiritual responsibility of development. But they are often rooted, I believe, in something more subtle, in some kind of mistrust, a belief that we inherited or internalized, that this version of me right here now is somehow not sufficient, somehow not enough. And we can, I believe we can carry that voice with us for quite some time, for years even, without realizing that it's there. But it's nagging. And it weaves in everything. It weaves in how we look at our posture, how we look at that tension in the jaw, those shoulders that are tensing up, that even if we sit perfectly still and upright and dignified, there is still this little voice adjusting a little here, adjusting a little there. This should be different. This is not what it is meant to be. So what begins as this self-aspiration is moving into something that is more self-correction. And that has its place, but it doesn't have its place during the sit. And it's also not something that we need to dramatize. It's not a failure of practice. It's just something to notice, a part of ourselves that is asking for attention in the only way it knows to. Also by incidents last week, I read Yoko Beck, and she had that one sentence that was, practice is not about having great enlightenment experiences. It's about meeting the mess of life and seeing how we add to it. I think that goes a bit in that direction for me. And it's the mess we add to it in this case is that there is this subtle violence we do to ourselves with not accepting us, not accepting praxis as it is. And I think in the very long run, over 1 or 2 years of practice or even longer, this is something that might even lead to dropping out, that might lead to feeling exhausted by all of that. Thinking we need to be something that we are not. Sometimes we imagine we moved beyond that self-judgment, and then it reappears in a different form. Even in a form like we think we need to be beyond self-judgment. That's wrong too. We shouldn't evaluate when we practice. We shouldn't try to improve. We should try to just be in that moment of practicing, of course. Those imperfections are the way and are not the obstacles to the way, I believe. Have I written down anything more to that? No. And maybe there are even larger things. There are things we perceive as failing, as falling short. We talk a lot about effort. We talk a lot about vow, about endurance, but not so often about the moments where we really fall short. when we drift away from practice, when we are angry, when we react in anger, when the mind becomes dull and disenchanted. Usually nobody wants to talk about those openly, I guess. There is this unspoken thing how a Zen practitioner should be: upright, clear, consistent, staying committed. And anyone who is in this for more than a few years knows that this is not how it is. We all fail, sometimes in small, invisible ways, like forgetting focus, skipping a period of Zazen, comparing ourselves to others. And sometimes we fall short in bigger ways, like walking away from practice entirely for months or years. And yet, I don't think failure or falling short is the right framing for it. It's again one of these negative ideas where we hurt ourselves. I think failure is a moment of great honesty. It is one of the most powerful teachers there are, not because it makes us stronger, because it is the moment when this artificial image of a person we should be drops away. That's when we feel we failed somewhere, we fell short. It's also the moment where we don't keep that idealized image of how we should be alive. It's quite humbling thing, returns us to the ground, to that raw human place where Dharma is more like a companion than an achievement. If I remember right, it was Reb Anderson who said that failing short is expressing the way, and I always thought that's a nice poetic idea. And now thinking about it again, I think that it's a literal thing. When we fall short, our failure expresses the way. When we break down, when we feel ashamed, when we feel lost, disillusioned, and we come back to sit, even if it's for 10 minutes, even if it's to cry on the cushion, that's the way. I mean, not that idealized thing. That's the very honest moment where there is no gain and no attainment, and where there is just us sitting there and willing to begin again. Failure is a good teacher because it takes away all that pretense. It's not what we want, but maybe what we need to see from time to time. So nothing outside the path. This failing is a positive thing. It's bad to call it failing, I guess. When we lose track of what we thought we were practicing for, and somehow that's where real practice begins, where those ideas are gone. But we need to act in the right way about those ideas of falling short. We shouldn't harden up. We should stay curious. We should look at it, not stay close to that idea. That can be a very honest gate into practice, I think. And it's one we all will face, and especially in that transitioning period after those initial falling in love with practice. Yeah, I really think this is how practice begins to mature, not with those new insights, but with honesty and with quiet trust that we are already there, and we need to allow it to seep in without those plans, what we need to do, without a map, without a certificate, without clear signs. The shift from how do I awaken to how do I see what's already there and what's already true. You maybe know those 10 ox herding pictures, that old Chinese pictures and poems that are describing different aspects of practice. I'm reminded on one of the later pictures, the 8th or so, I guess, when talking about this. After a long search of lost and found of the ox, it happens that the ox is gone and the small self is gone, and there's no one watching anymore. There's just this circle, this blank space, no seeker, no enlightenment, no problem to solve, and yet everything is still there. Everything is fully present. I think this is kind of mature practice, and that may feel quite plain, and not in a bad way, and not in a brilliant way either, but just plain sitting. And if you expect it to be something else, it leads one to a place of being overworked, to a place of feeling tired with practice, of not wanting to return to the cushion. I think of it like Master Dogen's idea of Zazen not being a step-by-step meditation, but being this simple Dharma grade of joyful ease, I think he said. And joyful ease doesn't feel like ease, but it's some kind of vow that starts to show itself, that doesn't depend on progress or clarity, one that is acting through the body, living in the body, in our daily actions, in our willingness to return to practice again and again, even if we are tired or bored or full of doubt. And we find ourselves more willing to accept where we are, more willing to accept ourselves. A little more able to meet the world like it is. And maybe without even noticing, we find ourselves back in the world, exactly where we stand. Still thinking about those ox herding pictures, with the last one where the guy that was searching the ox, the enlightenment, whatever, the Buddha nature, comes back to the village and is barefoot and shirt open and hands empty. No halo, no preaching, just presence, ordinary presence freely offered. There's no difference between practice and life at that point, I think. The path no longer needs to be something special and no longer needs some fireworks. That answer to what now is maybe nothing new at all. Just this, no proof, no path. Somehow that really is enough. Yeah, that's what I talked about with folks in the past weeks. And I don't know, maybe we can continue. Maybe we can talk about that now a bit too. I should probably close my mouth and don't talk much more about the same. I mean, I can continue. Anyone?
Thank you. Thank you for expanding a little bit on that. I think it's something we're all concerned with at some point. Where's my practice now? How am I doing? Am I doing okay? Am I not doing okay? And it's such an interesting question. But I'm glad you brought up the Dharma gate of joy and ease. That's the thing that immediately went ding, 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 ding to my head like that. I know I've heard a lot of folks many times go, joy and ease. That has to be metaphorical, or It has to be some sort of an aspiration. It cannot possibly be. And I read something very interesting about that, which kind of clarified it for me too. So I wanted to share it now since you brought it up for everyone.
Please.
When you think of Zazen, I think there's the good parts and the bad parts, as in the parts where we remember the pain in the legs and the pain in the back, and the acute desire for the bell to ring during the very long sits, for example, at Rohats and things like that. But think of the moment when we start sitting, when the bell rings, and there is no concern with sitting itself. It's kind of just pouring yourself into it, and you're available and you're open to it, and nothing hurts, nothing is unpleasant. It's kind of like, oh, yes, right? That's joy, that's ease. There's also joy and ease when the bell rings at the end, and you're like, ah. There's no concern for sitting itself. It's just a complete melting into the moment itself and experiencing it. And
yeah,
Isha
also not wanting it different, right? Not
right. It's like
stop the work. Stop the.
Yeah, there is no concern. The second we go 2 minutes into Zazen, I think most of the time what happens is we start to try to control it and manipulate it. It stops being the joy of the gate of joy and ease. It becomes the gate of let me try to get it right.
Work.
Yeah, let me try to get it right. Let me try to do it the right way, right? And I think there's a very gentle balance there, because there are certain things that we return to in Zazen. It's not just, it is in a sense a mindless sitting. We don't intellectually engage with it, but there is a self-regulatory thing that happens when you keep the posture and you've noticed the sensations in your, you're one with them, with the sensation.
But still, you shouldn't frame what is happening there as this is wrong, right? I need to change.
Yeah, no,
of
it's
course
just
you can adapt, and you have your
there's a
self-regulatory.
right? There's a self-regulatory thing that happens, I think, when your body itself tells you, wait, you're slouched, because you can feel that your breathing is hindered and your back is not feeling okay and your legs are getting numb, and there's certain self-regulatory things that the body says. It's kind of like the posture comes out of just giving yourself to the sitting itself. Not the posture as in the proper posture, but whatever it is that you're doing in that moment, I think. Yeah. So I like the image of the gate of joy and ease, because it kind of like puts us in front of the question, well,
it's also telling us to stop hitting ourselves with the hammer, right?
Yeah. But that's like, okay, what am I doing? Why is this not joy and ease?
Yeah, but still, it is not always joy and ease, and there is joy and ease in accepting that. So that's
but
kind of what I wanted to say.
That's I was reading Isha Fujita's a text from him, and he was specifically talking about how we have these moments of joy and ease, and hopefully we would have 30 minutes of joy and ease, but alas, that's not how it functions, and it's still part of Zazen. Like all of it is, whether there's the joy and ease or whether there's not joy and ease, it's all part of. There's joy and ease beyond the joy and ease. Beyond the lack of it, like you say, right? Like you find joy and ease in not being joyful and easy.
I think it's one of the reasons why folks drop out after being with Zazen for a year or for even longer, that they continuously work themselves up.
Yeah. What's this even for?
Don't see this joy and ease.
I remember about this when Beyond said about sitting, right? I have read a book about stories. There is someone, a group in a retreat. So I think it's some of us and tourists. I don't know, maybe in the United States. So in the last day, the teacher said to the students, "Oh, all of you have said very well." That why. Uh, okay, so it's already around 7 days of retreat. So everyone finally, in the end of the day, in the end of the retreat, so everyone is happy. Okay, so after this we can back home. So in the last sitting, after the last sitting, everyone was very happy. And then the teachers told the students, "Oh, all of you is a good student. That's why I want to add another day of the retreat. So we will not go home today." So everyone feel like, oh, okay, now let's sit. Okay, and then and this is the everyone before the teacher told that 5 minutes before 5 minutes. Sorry, I think I missed some stories. So back then, before the teacher told the student, everyone is thinking, oh, 5 minutes after this we will back home. 5 minutes after this we will back home, and this 5 minutes feels so long. And then the teacher said that, okay, we will add another day of retreat, and all the students feels like, ah. And then the teachers ring the bell and everyone sit. And after 5 minutes, the teacher ring the bell again. Okay, it's done. You can back home now. So it feels very the first 5 minutes before the teacher said that he wants to extend the retreat. This 5 minutes it feels long because everyone is expecting something. Oh, after this I will back home. Oh, this is will be the end of the retreat. Because it's expecting things, that's why this 5 minutes will become very long. But when the teacher said, okay, I will extend the retreat for several days later, then they stopped expecting that it will become very short. So I think this also is my experience. Sometimes I try to sit for example for 1 hour. Um, when I sit then okay, in my experience before, yeah, last year when I get very stressful, this is also the reason I joined the Treeleaf more than 10 years ago, and then I left Treeleaf and then back again after some of the problems in my life. And in that times when I feel very stressful about my life, and I remember about Jundo's teaching on Shikantasa, then I just sit. I'm just sit. I'm not thinking about getting something, getting enlightenment. No, because I'm so tired with life. I have thought about ending my life in that time. So I'm just sit. I just sit for nothing.
I think that's a
And
very honest moment, right? Where you don't pretend anymore, where you don't, yeah, yeah.
exactly. And I can sit. I don't have any timers. I'm not setting or I want to sit 1 hour or 40 minutes or something. No. I'm just sit. I'm just sit. I'm just sit because I'm too tired about everything in the time. I just sit. I just remember about Jundo and just sit. And I can sit up more. I think I was quite surprised when I see a clock. Oh, I have sit more than 1 hour, but it seems very, you know, it's not. Uh, it, it's kind of very short time, but I always sit for more than an hour in the times. So several months ago, later, then I try to sit one for 1 hour, and it feels so long. I always, you know, asking myself when my alarm will be ending the sitting. It feels very long because I expecting that
Yeah,
the bell will
I
ring.
totally get it. I sat with a monk once who randomly changed the sitting times without anyone knowing, doing it 10 minutes longer, doing it 10 minutes shorter, and no, you just sat there and thought the whole time it needs to end somehow. I'm sitting here for hours already. Yeah, it wasn't. It was just 10 minutes.
You know who did that? Do you know who did that? Master Shengyan, the Chan master, he used to have retreats in America, and he would literally change the duration of the sits however he saw it fit.
Yeah.
It was just, you could not possibly expect anything. Sometimes it was 30 minutes, sometimes it was like an hour and a half. So you just really didn't know what was happening, and people were crying on the cushions. It was
I see unmuted microphones. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, I think one of the important things actually that Muho, you said was about expectation. We have expectations really is a distinction. You know, you're expecting a certain outcome versus another outcome. So I think it's important, especially when it comes to our practice, not to expect anything, but just to accept it as it comes, as it is, right here, right now. That's it, whatever it is, and not to judge it, because again, that's basing it on your expectations. So it's just something that I've been trying to sit with in my practice a lot, and just to accept as it comes, as it is.
Yeah, I also have the same perspective about the sitting. I totally believe that if you bring with yourself that some expectation about your sitting, even the experience of sitting, it will be impacted, and you can have a very harsh moment, because every feeling, every seat, even though it's the same, can seem different. So you can feel different in every single seat that you do. And if you are not engaged, to drop your body and mind, your experience in sitting or as your life as a whole will be much more harsh, let's say. I totally believe in that. When I sit, if I have some expectation, it really seems that the time lasts longer. The feelings are completely different. So what you perceive. It is totally.
I was just going to say too that the expectations also continues into life. You know, so I have a story that I told many years ago. A homeless woman was coming up an escalator in one of the malls that I worked in, and she had a big cart in front of her, and she dropped all of the belongings all over the floor. And I naturally just went over to help, and started picking things up to give to her. And she thought that I was trying to steal her things. And so she yelled at me, and all these people around, and made a big scene, and very embarrassing. And at first, I was upset. I was like, how could she act that way? I was just trying to help. And later, I realized that I expected her to be thankful. I expected her to react positively, and she didn't. And because I expected that, I suffered. So. Mm-hmm. If I had just accepted everything as it came, I wouldn't have suffered as much, and I would have just been okay, just gone about my day. But it bothered me. It bothered me actually for many years. I thought about it for many years. And, but I came to accept it, and I appreciate that she reacted the way she did, because it opened my eyes to acceptance and not expecting anything. You know what I mean? Expecting causes suffering. So.
I'm sorry, this is absolutely true. When we have such expectation and we don't bring the practice for our life, we cannot see that we are expecting this expectation bring it to us. So it's suffering. So if we try to bring the practice to our life, because the life in practice are not separated, our life become much more easy, let's say, and for contentment. I totally perceive this.
Mauro, you have been raising your hand the whole time. Please speak up.
Something that helped me personally to work with this expectation, because quite honestly, sometimes I couldn't say that my expectation was not justified. I mean, you treat somebody nicely and they treat you horribly, and then you get entangled. So the way that was very helpful for me to work with expectation was to change a little bit the word and see the anticipation. The anticipation and the desire. So I saw my expectation as a kind of desire. And then going a little bit back, I saw the anticipation. And it was far, far clearer for me to see that that was just a story. It's not the desire as such, but the story I produce about the desire. And that has helped me a lot, if it makes any sense.
This is lovely. Like we are human. We cannot escape from this condition. We always will have expectations. But that's why I believe that the practice need always to try to bring the practice to our daily life, because the practice will bring slowly the contentment, even though we will rise some things like that. Right. Okay.
I feel like that too. What Maro just said, that
Yeah.
somehow I'm not meeting the real situation in front of me. I'm following my own idea of how that should develop. It's like the story Chujo's told about dropping the things. And maybe if I would have looked at that woman first and asked, hey, can I help you? That would be a totally different thing than to think my story is the truth. And my story is I need to help her now and pick up and be a nice guy. And
Well, I think we're conditional beings in that sense, and that's the thing that we experience in Zazen too. The true self that's always there, regarding of whether we pay attention to it or not. And so, I've lived 42 years in this world, and usually when this and XYZ align, something comes out of it. And so there's this conditioned expectation that naturally arises. And I think the wisdom that comes from practice is being able to see that and release it.
I really think that Zazen is kind of a practice of that.
It's not, expectation.
Of
Of
seeing
course.
what is there without the stuff I'm adding to it. Right?
I can look back to everything. When Master Dogen describes Zazen, he says it is the Dharma gate of joy and ease. He sets an expectation by using the words that he uses. By using the words that he uses.
I think,
sorry.
yeah, I think sometimes I also see about in English about expectation and aspiration. I think for example, when we Bodhisattva vows, for example, it's also but it's not expectation, but I think Bodhisattva vows is kind of an aspiration, and this is why even the Buddha, after getting enlightened, he has an aspiration to teach the Dharma to all sentient beings. So I think is expectation is desire or expectation is an aspiration. I think it depends on the motivation. I think this is very important because an aspiration in a Buddhist way, I think, is also want to save all sentient beings, but the motivation is more like a selfless motivation, while expectation is something you want, but it's based on a more with a small ego desire. So I think this is the difference between the aspiration and expectation. While expectation based on the desire, it brings more suffering, of course. While an aspiration is just
I'm not expecting to save all sentient beings. I'm aspiring to. Yeah, that's. I interrupted you because I all of a sudden looked at the clock. and thought that I should have been at the tea house already.
Ah,
Okay.
So it's kind of is there. I'm feeling bad about that. So that's something very present we should address now, which doesn't have the time to
man,
be
you have
addressed
to
in the tea
go.
house.
You have to go. You have to go to the other room. You have to go.
Yeah, just
Go.
wait. Kirk will be there. Kirk will be there. Kirk is a nice person. Kirk will welcome everyone and will make jokes about me when I come late. That's fine.
Yeah. I think Shosai wanted to say something.
Just to pick up on what Kotai was saying at the beginning about Ango being over and the precept study, there is a chapter in Shobogenzo 7 or 8, The Deeper Meaning of the Precepts. And I was just wondering if that is worth a group study.
I would need to revisit it. At the moment, I just think about the idea that that never starts or ends, and it's all present and all of this. But I would need to look into it again. But I will.
Just to say, Shosai, within the readings of the, can you hear me well? Within the readings of the precepts, there was constantly also included Master Dogen's take on them with his deeper meaning of the precept. That wasn't like the standard regular way of approaching them, but rather his precepts of the one mind approach. And so that's included actually in the Ango study, not as a separate text itself, but like it is included in it. We talk about that almost in every single reading of the precepts, how Master Dogen tackled them.
There's an aspect in there of the Bodhisattva takes responsibility for their actions.
Yeah.
And there is a deeper meaning to that, which I certainly haven't picked up on in the Ango precept study. But that was specifically the area I was thinking of. But if you feel that's already covered, that's fine.
I don't think it's ever covered.
No, I feel it a good idea to continue with that. But we also have this yearly thing of we start somewhere in September and talk 3 or 4 months about the precepts. And for me, it feels a bit too early for a group study on the precepts again.
But it is something
month
that
after
actually
finishing,
can be
but
taken under advice.
yeah.
It is something we can look at and maybe include it for next season.
Please
That's a good
do.
suggestion. Thank you, Shosei.
I'm pressing now. Beyond.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Let's please close the sutras and invite everyone to continue talking about it in the other room in the tea house.
Yes. Okay. May the merits of these teachings penetrate into each thing in all places, so that we and every sentient being together may realize the Buddha's way. All Buddhas throughout space and time. All Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha Prajna Paramita. Thank you. Go, Kote. Go.
Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and sorry for wrapping this up.
The rest of you don't need to run out. You can say goodbye, but Kote needs to run. Go.
We'll see each other over there if you want to continue talking.
Yes,
Thanks.
please.
Bye.
If you want to socialize more, there's room for everyone in the other room. Oh, look at you go. Look at you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your practice this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hope your internet comes back. And you.
Oh, it's not really the internet. It's something with the Wi-Fi adapter. I don't know. it worked fine all the time, and now suddenly it decided, oh, I'm gonna die.
Sometimes
Technology.
Sometimes it happens. Have a good Sunday.
Have a good Sunday. Bye.
Bye.